Looking to trade your old bulk for some of the latest Pokemon booster boxes? Well, check ccgcastle.com. The process is very simple. Send in 1400 cards and get a brand new sealed booster box back. We ship boxes worldwide for free once we get your cards. Make sure to check video description or check ccgcastle.com for more information. How's it going, Pokefans? Once again, welcome back to Pokemon TCG Center. In today's video, we'll be looking at the Decidueye GX featuring Alolan Ninetales deck. So this is the updated version of the deck that I actually decided to play a little bit. So as you can see, I'm running 20 Pokemons, 33 trainer cards, and 7 energies. So 4-4-3 line of the Decidueye. With the feeder arrow, we can basically throw 2 damage counters to one of our opponent Pokemons in play. And on the other side, with the Ice Blade for a double course energy, we can also snipe for 50 one of our opponent Pokemon in play. With the Tapu Koko, we can also flip around for 20 damage counters to all of our opponent benched Pokemons in play. And more than that, I'm running 1 Espeon because it's a very good card to devolve all of my opponent Pokemons in play. And with the 2 Tapu Leles, I can simply search my deck for any supported card at any time. I put my Tapu Lele on the bench, of course, if there is no Hex Maniac effect in play, or maybe Silent Clap, or maybe Garbotoxin Garbodor with a tool attached. So that's the Pokemon list. Moving on to the item cards, as you can see, I decided to go with 2 copies of Field Blower because it's very important. In some cases, Field Blower might help a lot, especially against decks that will be able to shut down our abilities with that Garbotoxin, so mainly against Garbodors. Field Blower is also a very good card because it can discard Stadium from play, but it can also maybe move those Float Stones and Fighting Fury Belts, which can also be 40 extra HP for the Pokemon, which is basic in play. 7 searching Pokemon cards in total, so I'm running 3 level balls, which can provide me with 90 HP or less Pokemon, and 4 copies of Ultra Ball. And that's pretty much it. So with the Ultra Ball, you can search your deck for any Pokemon. With the level ball, you can search your deck for Rowlet, Dartrix, or maybe Vulpix. Decided to go with 1 copy of Rescue Stretcher and 1 copy of the Revitalizer, simply because with the Revitalizer, we can recover 2 grass Pokemons immediately into our hand, and with the Rescue Stretcher, we can do the same thing as the Rescue Stretcher, but for any Pokemon, but only for the 1 Pokemon, or we can just basically shuffle 3 Pokemon from this pile into our deck. 3 copies of V-Seeker because mainly with the Hall of Hunt, we can take any 3 cards from disco pile, so I think we don't need more than 3 V-Seekers, to be honest. 4 copies of Force of Giant Plants for the best consistency and for the max possible Decidueye turn 1 in play. Supporter card, of course, is a standard one for the standard format right now. In this moment, 1 copy of Bridget, 2 Lysanders, 3-4 line of the Sycamore, and I also decided to take 1 Olympia just because it's a good card. More than Olympia, I'm running also 2 copies of the Floatstone, so I can have free retreat between my Pokemons in play that requires actually energy for the retreat. And 7 energies, 4 of them are going to be DCEs, and of course 3 grass basic energy cards. If you're looking for any of these cards, make sure to check ccgcastle.com, link is in my video description. If you're looking to trade maybe your bulk for some of the latest booster boxes, make sure also to check that because it can be definitely shipped for you wherever you are on the world. It's available worldwide for free. You just need to send your cards, and once we receive your cards, you're gonna get your booster box. So yeah, let's do some game tests so you can actually see how this deck works in action. So see you in the game. Alright, so today's video is all about Alolan Ninetales and the Decidueye GX. One very interesting deck list that I'm going to use in today's video. I actually like it a lot. There's a couple different options what we can do with this deck basically. So starting with the Tapu Koko here and just wondering what can be the top deck. Okay, 1 level ball, which is a very nice top deck if somebody gonna ask me. So I'm definitely gonna grab my Rowlet, put him on the bench, attach that Floatstone, a DCE, and Sycamore for 7. Alright, so far so good. There's another Rowlet, and I'm just looking at that Force of Giant Plant, but I'm thinking about just passing my turn for now. Turn 2, well, basically I can promote in the front my Vulpix because on the other side is actually Froakie, but he actually managed to paralyze me. And that's definitely very bad for my opponent, which means only one thing. I'm gonna play my Forest here, and I'm gonna Ultra Ball, which means I'm gonna discard my Espeon and my Forest for something like a Dartrix. We'll put my Dartrix in play. Also, I'm looking forward to attach my Double Chorus Energy and play Tapu Lele. But this time, I'm gonna play my Tapu Lele for N. Not because my opponent have pretty much nothing in his hand, but basically because I don't wanna really discard my Max Potion without being able to play it. Okay, just another Dartrix, and there is also one Ninetales, which I'm definitely gonna put in play, because I managed to set up almost more than enough. Yeah, let's also put that Espeon in hand, so we can devolve our opponent Greninjas once in game, when it's gonna be time for that. But I think it would be much smarter if I just decided to shuffle my Espeon back into my deck, so I can surprise my opponent. But it's still okay. I mean, the main strategy is definitely to spread as many damage counters as we can, and there's a water duplicate from my opponent on the other side, so how many Frogadiers he can find there? I'm looking at 3 Frogadiers on his bench, so there's a plenty of Frogadiers. The only good thing here is that I can basically one-hit knock out all of my opponent Greninjas just with a single Decidueye, and that's definitely a nightmare for my opponent. Really, it is. So time to play another Ultra Ball for another Decidueye. There we go. So I have 2 of them in play. Of course, 2 Feather Arrows should be placed to that Froakie on the bench, because even if he can evolve without Rare Candy into Frogadier, he can be knocked out. But if you decide to evolve with the Rare Candy, I can just keep applying more pressure to that Greninja. Okay, so anyways, there's 180 damage counters to that Froakie, and I managed to pull Level Ball. Of course, my opponent can always toss some John Water Shurikens, and once he do that, he can just use his Shadow Snitching and basically shut down my Feather Arrow ability. But basically, if that happens, and I talked about putting that Frogadier in place, so probably the game plan or strategy for my opponent here will to be at least try to evolve as many Frogadiers into Greninjas, and at least try to use that Shadow Snitching. That's also something that I would personally do. Hit with Shadow Snitching and at least try to prevent your opponent from being able to spread those extra damage counters around the board. So there is another Dive Ball for another Greninja. But it's definitely very hard for my opponent to do a one-hit knockout here. He definitely needs 2-hit knockouts or something like 3 John Water Shurikens. With Guzma in a future format, that's gonna definitely be a possible, but right now that's simply impossible. So Shadow Snitching, as I mentioned it, for 40. And it's my turn, so Field Blower, it's not worth to play. I'm not even looking forward to attach my Double Chorus Energy, so what I'm gonna do here is just gonna be that Razor Leaf for 180. Once I do that 180 damage counters, what I can do next is basically absorb enough punishments until I just decide to Max Potion my active Decidueye, for example. And then basically I can retreat into the another one and one-hit knock out my opponent Greninja. So that can also be the case here. Or for example, I can just retreat to my Ninetales, absorb some pressure also with my Ninetales, and then simply use that Ice Pad GX. Die Ball, this might be for Greninja Break, and yes, it is. Alright, so there is Greninja Break. I have 4 prize cards, my opponent is down to like 6, and he decided to play the Field Blower. Alright, no problems about that Field Blower. So what I'm gonna need here, it's gonna definitely be an energy card, and that needs to be Grass energy card. So yeah, 6 damage counters from John Water Shuriken, and decided to retreat and hit for 40 with another Greninja. which is basically interesting with the Shadow Snitching, of course. Another Decidueye. I mean, yeah, I feel comfortable playing Sycamore here for like 7 and knocking out probably his... Let me see something actually here. Oh yeah, I have enough resources available. Let's just first retreat. And after that retreat, I can definitely play my max potion, no doubt about that. And I can V-Seek her into the something like a Sycamore. Okay, and basically what I'm gonna do here, it's gonna be a Ice Blade for like a 50 to his Frogadier on the bench. So right now I managed to knock out his Frogadier and I'm down to like 3 prize cards. It's definitely okay for me. As many damage counters as he can put to my active Alolan Ninetales, that many damage counters I can simply throw to his Greninja with my Ice Pet GX. So this is a V-Seeker, and luckily for me it's not for the end, it's just for Professor Sycamore. So that's definitely a good sign. Okay, Starmie and Ranger discarded. Ooh. Okay, that's fine. And energy attached to the Greninja break, and this is the splash one. So he's looking definitely forward to throw some John Water Shurikens and maybe just, who knows, maybe he just decide to hit me for like a 40. I have a Floatstone available in my hand, which means only one thing. Theoretically, next turn I can win the game if I can top Grass Energy. I can probably get my Grass Energy just by playing N or maybe Sycamore, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that. 6 damage counters, okay, very smart play. So you really want to somehow knock out that Decidueye and Shadow Snitching for like a 40. Let's see if there's going to be a Grass Energy as a top deck. Nope, it's going to be just a Ninetales. Which means only one thing. I can basically risk with my N here, I mean. If I get lucky with the energy card, Grass type, I can just one-hit knock out his Greninja break, and then the game is unfortunately for my opponent over, but I didn't find it. Which is just fine. So I'm gonna Ice Blade his benched Greninja. Yeah, let's do that. Because anyways, if he wants to throw 2 John Water Shurikens, he needs to retreat to that Greninja, so there's a greater chance for the knockout against it. Alright. But if he even decide to finish the game, maybe, oh, there's a Lysander play. This is a big call. And he decided to Lysander my Espeon, so this will actually get him a couple turns here, probably to set up and to throw more John Water Shurikens to my Decidueye, because I don't have another Floatstone available, and this is definitely not good. So yeah, my second Floatstone is in my discard pile. He can throw some John Water Shurikens and just keep going on with the Shadow Snitching, which is a nightmare for me. Really it is. So I'm just gonna try to get the energy card here with the end, so I can maybe... no way. I mean, I could even try to devolve his Greninja here, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So he get himself an extra turn here. There's no question about that. I mean, Miraculous Shine would be nice because I would just devolve his Greninja break and his Greninja, and there wouldn't be possibility to basically throw 2 John Water Shurikens and take maybe knock it over my Alolan Ninetales on the bench, for example. But at least I managed to draw myself a very important card, which is a V-Seeker for that Sycamore for 7. Yeah, it's definitely a very important resource in this game against that Greninja, no question about it. Alright, so let's just wait for a moment and see what's going to be the game strategy for my opponent. Of course, if he maybe just decide to throw John Water Shuriken and retreat and hit with the Shadow Snitching with his another Greninja, he can do that. I mean, Starmie is actually in his discard pile, so I'm not 100% sure if there's a chance maybe somehow to put another Starmie in his hand to devolve that Staryu. I'm not sure if he's running 2-2 or just 2-1 line or maybe 1-1 line of Starmie, but I'm 100% sure that he have that Starmie in his discard pile, and yeah, basically he just shuffles his deck back, and there's a choice band. Alright, so I might see a retreat here to that Greninja on the bench. Alright, personally I would definitely attach the Splash Energy to that Greninja on the bench. I really don't know why he didn't do that. He should definitely do that, but he didn't. So that's also a huge mistake for my opponent. Alright, and he even decided to shuffle back Starmie, Greninja, and Greninja break, so probably he have Die Ball or Ultra Ball available, as I mentioned it, so there is a Die Ball, which is probably gonna be for Starmie first, and then if he can find Greninja break, that's gonna be the bonus for my opponent. Okay, so far he can discard a card from his hand in exchange for 2 basic energies in his discard pile, which means he can definitely throw 2 John Water Shurikens. But throwing 2 John Water Shurikens this turn will not be enough for my opponent to maybe knocks out my Decidueye on the bench, not even to knocks out my Ninetales, but I definitely need to react very quickly here. There is no question about it. If I miss energy card, this is probably going to be GG for my opponent. So there we go. He discarded 1 energy in exchange for 2 of them. I mean, at least he can take safety knockout here against my Espeon GX. And yeah, he decided to throw those John Water Shurikens to my Decidueye on the bench, as expected. And who knows, he maybe even decide to pass his turn here without knocking out. Yeah, he won't be able to knock out my Espeon, so that's just gonna be the Shadow Snatching for like a 70. Ooh. All suddenly, I'm in a very, very bad position. Really, I am. So I'm just gonna try, you know, to get that energy card and to apply some pressure basically to my opponent. And there's like 2 grass energies. Everything was fine until he Lysandered my Espeon. And after that, everything went wrong. If I retreat or if I not retreat, he can have 2 knockouts anyway. So for me, the best call is definitely to attach the double CORSAIR energy down to my Decidueye GX on the bench, and basically to just pass turn back to my opponent. I mean, yeah, 2 John Water Shurikens plus probably 40 or 70 damage counters to one of my Pokemons are gonna happen. At least after that I have Lysander available, so I can knock out one of his Greninjas, which is a good thing. So he won't be able to maybe knocks out with a single shot my Tapu Lele, for example, on the bench. Or maybe he will. Or maybe he will. Depend if he will have that V-Seeker available in his hand for the Lysander play. Right now, that's probably the most important thing. But I'm just thinking about maybe even promoting that Tapu Lele in the front. If that Tapu Lele took 6 damage counters. So he definitely needs to retreat. It's a really tough decision what to do in this situation. So there is a Tapu Lele with the Wonder Tag, which is probably going to be for a Lysander, and this might be Lysander into my Tapu Lele. And if that actually happens, then he can also throw John Water Shuriken down to my Espeon GX, knock him out, grab 2 more prize cards. But the good thing is that I have that Olympia available in my hand. Oh, Wonder Tag for nothing. So yeah, I mean, those Greninja decks actually don't rely on the Lysanders. They just play 1 copy of Lysander and that's it. But he still have 3 cards in his hand, and plus he will have like 2 extra cards in his hand. So what I need here is something like end, so I can maybe end my opponent down to 2 cards and hope that he will not be able... Oh, really? he actually decided to ends me. Oh, I wish I actually played my Ultra Ball for that forced and maybe energy card, or maybe just for the Lysander. Oh, I get the Lysander and energy, but the problem is that I have... Oh, Olympia as a top deck. Whew, what a nice top deck that was. That Olympia actually here is huge, because I can basically rather leave his Greninja for like 180 and he just have one Greninja break available in play. He can possibly even win this game by throwing one John Water Shuriken down to my Espeon, and then by simply Lysandering my Alolan Ninetales, which is actually gonna happen. So he will pull 4 prize cards in this game, unfortunately. Yeah. Whew, what a nice game this was. I'm actually gonna say what a nice game this was. Even I lost this game, I'm definitely gonna put it into the deck review. Unfortunately against Greninja, yeah, you're not gonna have the best matchup, because unfortunately Greninja can just simply Shadow Sneak your possibilities to do that extra damage with your Decidueye. But yeah, it actually costs me a lot here, that choice band that I was not able to remove. So that choice band was MVP in this game, because of the extra 30 damage that my opponent was able to do. And unfortunately I already discarded all my field blowers that I had.